Welcome back to season 1 of Snubs and Dubs, where we're talking the snubs and dubs of the 69th Academy Award for Best Picture. I'm your host, Kyle Tobiasen, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jason Miller. Jason, how you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing good. I got my booster shot today.
Oh, shit.
And boy, are my arms tired because it hurts. But yeah. I'm excited to finally complete the hat trick.
Nice.
But I had to switch it up. I went Pfizer first, Pfizer second, Moderna third.
Interesting.
Couldn't get the full hat trick. Not a natural hat.
I got Moderna twice, and so I'm going to go get my booster this week, I think.
Nice.
And hopefully get the same. But I don't know.
Who cares? You get what you get.
Give me that sweet COVID.
The sweet shotties.
Juice, yes.
Yeah, we're good for COVID-19, COVID-20, COVID-21. They're done. They're not beating our arms. How you doing, Kyle? What's new with you?
I don't know. Not much. I've been having a nice weekend, some off work.
Nice.
Had the holidays come and go, except for the New Year's. By the time people listening to it, it is well into the New Year's, but New Year's Eve is tomorrow night.
It is.
So
yeah, wow.
Exciting.
We're recording this in 2021. Mm-hmm. You're listening to this in 2022. Warn us about what happens.
Yeah.
Let us know what's going down. And be like, yo, on January 2nd, because you're not that far ahead in the future.
No.
Like, stay inside. Don't get a large shaky from McDonald's. It's gonna be kind of gross. It's gonna be a little watery. Just don't do it. It's not worth your money.
Did you watch anything in the past week?
Oh, I watched a handful of things.
Oh, that's exciting.
First of all, did we talk about Spider-Man yet? Because I watched Spider-Man recently, but did I watch that before?
You watched that after.
So we have not had Spider talk yet.
Yeah, last episode you talked about the first two that you watched, Homecoming and Far From Home.
Yeah.
You saw No Way Home that night after recording.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked it the most of the three, or like on par with Homecoming. Probably a little bit more though. It was really fun.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm interested. Okay. It's been many weeks now.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, I just opening the floor. We're going to talk full spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we've beaten around the bush a lot. I also saw it again this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen it 3 times now. For the 3 Spider-Man that are in this fucking movie.
One for each. You only watched like one Spider-Man each and would just block your ears when anyone else is talking.
So what did you like? Did you get the whole everything that was going on? Like, were people laughing in the theater at moments cheering when you didn't understand what was going on?
No, I knew exactly what was going on. It's pretty like well telegraphed. And I remembered sitting in that theater. I have watched one of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. I watched the first one, and it kind of came back to me as I was watching it. It was just a long time ago.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But it was really easy to follow. Like, you kind of know, like, if you know Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man from like just online memes, because it's a heavily memed, heavily shared movie for like all series.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of know. And like, it's a pretty popular media thing with him killing Gwen Stacy by accident. So you know that backstory already.
Yeah.
You know most of the Maguire stuff because everyone online loves posting about our boy Toby.
And did you appreciate the meme of Goblin saying, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Oh yeah, because that's been like done thousands of times as well.
I can't believe they snuck that in.
There was a couple small things. Like they did the Spider-Man pointing meme when what's his face?
Tom Holland? Or
his friend. Ned.
Ned, yeah.
Yeah, when Ned says Peter and then they're all looking around trying to figure out which Peter, they like recreate the Spider-Man pointing meme.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think they did a really fun job of it.
Yeah.
I had a great time watching it.
That was one of my favorite bits because he's like, Peter, and they're like, what? And he's like, Peter Parker. And it's like, it's not helping. It's the same shit.
There's 3 chemistry. It was really fun. Like I don't think I could do more than 1 movie's worth of that because I think they kind of like, they did it well. They got in and out, done kind of all you need from that. But it was really well done and super funny.
It was. I also really liked Andrew Garfield in this. He was so short, like hard done by the 2 movies he was in. He is a great Spider-Man.
He's a great Spider-Man.
Yeah. And there's like one moment, you mentioned the Gwen Stacy bit where he saves MJ.
Yeah.
And you could just see how much that meant to him in that one moment.
I know. It's so sweet. Okay. What's your Spider-Man ranking? First of all, just on let's put this up. Who is your top 3 for Peter Parker and who's your top 3 for Spider-Man as separate entities? Because I think this is the dividing line on people's love for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think it's actually the same for both. Maybe really? I think it's Toby, Tom, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Because Andrew's actually a really good Spider-Man. Yeah. But I think he's a pretty like he's a too cool Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Toby is kind of like a perfect Peter Parker.
He's the perfect Peter Parker. Yeah.
Just like awkward, but also kind of like sweet and endearing.
Yeah. Actually dorky.
Yeah. And Tom is like just like a kind of almost a frantic high school kid. Like you can really, they cast him young and they wanted it to do a really young Spider-Man. And they've done a really good job of capturing his Peter Parker as a really young Spider-Man and his Spider-Man being, typical quippy, fun Spider-Man. But I think it's the same for both Toby, Tom, Andrew. Yeah. Maybe that's a little bit of nostalgia glasses, but
maybe.
Yeah.
I think Toby's my favorite Peter Parker for sure. And then probably Tom is my second and then Andrew my third. But for Spider-Man, I think Garfield might be my favorite Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
Maybe. He's a good like Spider-Man. He's got like right body for it. The right like quips and stuff. And then probably I think Tom Holland's is like my second place for each.
Yeah.
And then Toby and Andrew switch around that.
We got to watch the rest of the movies now.
Yeah.
And get your full perspective because I think Andrew, he's a really good actor. Obviously.
Obviously.
I think he's actually of the three of them, probably the best actor.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised.
And I think he's just really short, what's the word?
Hard done by, got the short straw.
Yeah, he got the short straw. He got the short straw on the Spider-Man writing.
Yeah.
Because his movies were not great.
No.
And that just makes it all the worse when you see him in this movie and he's like, he fucking steals the show.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah.
Speaking of Andrew Garfield, I also got around to watching Tick, Tick, Boom.
Hell yeah. What did you think?
It was good. I liked it. It was fun. I really enjoyed it.
I liked it too.
It was like a pretty approachable music theater. It didn't get like super cringe theater kitty, but it still kind of did. Like it's about being a writer in New York. So it's going to be a little bit about being a writer in New York. You know what I mean? But it's still really good. Andrew Garfield's so good.
He's so fucking good.
He's so good in it.
One scene that I watched a couple times afterwards was the song is called Therapy. But it's when Andrew Garfield's character and his girlfriend are arguing. Yes. And there's this song with Vanessa Hudgens going on in the meantime. That's one of my favorite songs and moments in that movie. And he even says like, everyone's miserable in New York. That's like the New York thing.
Yeah.
and it's just like, it was really great. And it also captures a bit of that character because as they're like hugging at the end, he like starts figuring out how he could write the song for it. And it's a little bit meta because that there's literally a song going on.
Yeah.
As they're having this argument cutting between. So he did write a song about this moment. And she's like, are you seriously thinking about how you can make this a song right now?
That was so good. Yeah. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. It would be something I'd watch again. Just kind of like a comfort thing. Like it's fun. It's sweet.
Yeah.
Happy endings for most.
Yeah. Because unfortunately that guy died way too young.
Yeah. Really sad. But he wrote some good stuff.
He did. Yeah.
We also watched. I watched Super Troopers.
Oh,
my
cool.
friend last night. It's not like a great movie. It was funny though.
Nice.
But more importantly,
yes,
we watched Licorice Pizza together.
We did watch Licorice Pizza together.
What did you think of Licorice Pizza? Do we want to go full? Maybe shouldn't go full spoilery.
Maybe not full spoilers.
Yeah. There's not a warning. There's not a lot of story to spoil.
Yeah. I liked it. And I think as I'm kind of thinking on it, and maybe if I watch it again, it might grow on me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because it is one of those like slice of life type movies where you're just following these characters along in a moment of their time where, not everyone has like a true arc. There's maybe not like a story that you can like completely define. It's just a series of events that like are entertaining and work, and the characters are interesting. And I really liked the two leads, Cooper Hoffman and Elena Hine.
Yeah.
They were really good together. But it just didn't really have like a through line that was, that you would follow the way through, other than Cooper Hoffman's character Gary is just like a hustler.
Yeah.
And I was saying some stuff to you in the car that like at the end this is kind of, I don't want to get the spoilers, but like there was something that was kind of missing in that I thought that there was going to be more conflict between the two of them in some areas, because Gary's this hustler and he's bringing her along on these kind of financial endeavors, and before that she wasn't really doing much, and you thought that might be a point of conflict for the two of them, but it doesn't really end up being that, which was kind of that. That might have just been what I thought that movie should be, and PTA did not. But yeah, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I agree. Like, I think I want to watch it again, but I think I want to watch it again at home.
Yeah.
I think I want to invite these characters into my house for them to tell me their story one more time. But I think like it's just a well put together movie. It's really enjoyable. I love Elena's character. It's actually like a really cool, interesting character that I haven't really seen be done before. I do wish that, like, without getting spoiler, I wish that she had more done for her by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I do really enjoy, like, their relationship was interesting. Because I was never fully sure of where it was going to go. So I did like that they actually made it felt like a true will they, won't they kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where I didn't know if they would or they wouldn't. Went. But yeah, it was good. I'd recommend watching it. It might not be everyone's thing. And I think if you get bored and want to leave at some point, you're probably not wrong to do that. Because I don't think it's going to get, at any moment, does it really pick up and have like this huge backswing where it all pays off. It's just like a slice of life. It's a vibe.
Yeah, it definitely is a vibe.
Yeah, and if you're vibing, keep watching.
Yeah.
If you're not vibing, go play Mario Party. I don't know. Just it's probably not for you then.
Yeah, well, you and I both said that it did feel quite long at times.
Yes.
And like from watching the trailer and kind of knowing loosely who's in the movie, I was waiting for the Bradley Cooper scene, and I was waiting for the Safdie brothers, or one of the Safdie brothers scenes. And like it got to the point where I was like, we've had so much movie already. And the Sean Penn scene, and we haven't seen any of these characters yet. What, like, how are they even gonna come in? And Bradley Cooper comes in for like,
he's not there long.
Minute.
He's
like,
not there long at all.
And same with the Safdie brother, and Sean Penn. They're all in there for like maybe a couple of scenes.
Yeah,
not very impactful. Like it's all about the two leads, Gary and Elena.
Yeah,
Elena, and that's basically it. And that might also be like, if you're watching it at home, you might get bored. We were trapped there in the theater.
Yeah.
and so like, we couldn't leave, but it would be a comfortable home watch, but I could imagine some people tuning out at home.
Yeah. And I don't think they're wrong to do that, but I think it's worth it overall.
Yeah.
What else have you been up to? I think that's all I've been up to.
That's covered you?
Yeah. I started watching Talladega Nights.
Oh, nice.
This is the same night after Super Troopers, and then we stopped and watched other stuff. So I saw the first half hour of Talladega Nights. But yeah, I had nothing else really.
Yeah. On Christmas Day, we watched Die Hard.
Yep.
Classic. Always great to watch. And I always forget how good it is.
It's actually a really enjoyable movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of fun. Alan Rickman fucking stomps it as Hans
This guy
Gruber.
slaps ass and takes names.
And it's like peak Bruce Willis too. Like he had his hair, and he was quippy and actually enjoying being in movies.
Yeah,
and
he wasn't phoning it in for the paycheck yet.
No.
He was still having fun.
Yeah, and then on Boxing Day we watched The Family Man.
What?
Who?
Are you talking about the TV show The Family Guy?
No. I'm talking about the early 2000s Nicolas Cage Christmas movie, The Family Man.
I've never heard of this. None of that tells me that I want to hear about this. How was it?
It was actually kind of nice. Like,
was it like funny Cage or just like badly misplaced Cage?
No, like he was fine in it. But it's essentially about. Have you seen It's a Wonderful Life?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you know how like kind of in the last 3/4 of that movie, he gets to see what his life would be like if he wasn't there. Essentially, this is like that, but it's he decides to stay with his girlfriend instead of going to school, and it's like a different parallel to what his life could be if he was a family man instead of a businessman type of thing. Yeah. But he still has all his memories. And so he's basically placed in this family life with this, with his ex-girlfriend, now his wife, and he's got 2 children. And he kind of, it's a kind of a typical thing.
Yeah.
He kind of learns to appreciate the family values and, having a family and what he threw away. And he goes away from like his like materialistic personality into caring more about the relationships you have with your family. But then at the end, like he goes back to his, because it's just like a glimpse, as Don Cheadle puts it. Don Cheadle's also in this movie.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
That kicks ass.
Yeah. So obviously, at the end, like he's going to go back.
Yeah.
But like what choices he make after that, you'll have to find out if you watch it.
Does he want his family back?
Other than, we talked about Spider-Man and Licorice Pizza. I last night watched Don't Look Up.
Oh, I'm so on the fence on if I actually want to watch that or not.
You should watch it.
Okay. It's worth watching?
It's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's It's Adam McKay who did like Vice and The Big Short.
Yeah.
And so if you liked The Big Short, I think you'll especially like this. But it's essentially, you know the general concept?
Yeah, because there's like a giant asteroid coming and they're trying to warn people and no one's listening. And hold on, folks, it might be an allegory for something we're currently going through. Hold your horses. We may have seen these before. There's some parallels.
And like the ending for me, very expected. I expected where this was going. But like the way that just the uphill battle that these people face and the places that they end up like on this talk show with these two hosts that are trying to make light of the fact that there is a comet the size of Mount Everest hurtling towards the Pacific Ocean and will be there within the next 4 months. Like, and they're just like, oh, can it hit my ex-wife's house? Like,
well, I mean, yeah.
Yes, it will hit everyone's house.
Houses will stop being a concept very shortly after.
Yeah, and it's just really fascinating and also funny. So if you're like kind of looking for a satirical comedy like that, that also is very frustrating to watch, but in a way that's like funny.
Okay, yeah.
Worth your time.
Or maybe even a little cathartic to the times that we are currently living through.
Yeah.
These unprecedented ones.
Yeah, and there's 2 post-credit scenes, which is surprising me. The first one, I was fucking dying, and not just for the reason of the actual maybe punchline of it.
Yeah, not for the comment
but just for the people that were involved. That's all I'll say. And they make a very pointed effort to show you who is involved in this post-credit scene. And if you watch it, you'll figure out what I mean. But yeah.
Interesting. I'll probably give that a watch. That sounds pretty good.
On Netflix, so worth a checking out. And of course, we watched The Birdcage, which is a movie we're going to talk about this episode. Of course, season 1 of Snubs and Dubs is covering the films from the year 1996. And for episode 22, we're talking about The Birdcage. Have you seen it before?
No, I've never heard of it before.
Either.
How about you?
I had not heard of it, not seen anything about it until this podcast, but I was very interested when I started to kind of digging into it a little bit. And slight spoilers on opinion. It was good. It was a good watch.
It was good. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
If you were interested in The Birdcage, I think I don't know if there's a book. There's a play. And there's
so many things that come out of this. There's like Tony Award-winning musicals.
Yeah.
And like the original French movie. I'm pretty sure there's a book in there too.
Maybe. Who knows? But I'll link to whatever after I do some research. But I've included those links in the show notes. If you buy through those links, it'll help out the show. Or if you have any other Amazon shopping to do, follow the general link. It'll help out our show in the process. Reminder that this is going to be a spoiler-filled conversation. So if you haven't seen The Birdcage yet and you want to, go ahead and do so. But without further ado, we're going to get into it. We do have a guest spot in the middle of this episode. They are joining us via Zoom. So if you are noticing an audio difference, that is why. But we are going to have a conversation with Daniel in the middle.
All right. In this remake of the classic French farce, Le Cage à Folles.
That was perfect. I don't think you could have said that any better.
Engaged couple Val Goldman, played by Dan Futterman, and Barbara Keeley, played by Calista Flockhart. This is going to be the worst run of names we will have in this show. I'm setting a record right now. Shakily introduced our future in-laws. Val's father, Armand, a gay Miami drag club owner, pretends to be straight and attempts to hide his relationship with his partner, Albert, and the club's flamboyant star attraction, so as to please Barbara's father, controversial Republican Senator Kevin Keeley. This movie is directed by Mike Nichols. This is where it's going to get rough. Written by Jean Porret, Francis Weber, Edouard Molinaro, Marcelo Denon, and Elaine May. This is based on, as I said before, a remake of the French film Le Cage à Folles. No clue. Oh, I should have looked that up first. I'm a hack. This is starring Robin Williams as Armand Goldman, Nathan Lane as Albert Goldman, Gene Hackman as Senator Kevin Keeley, Diane Wiest as Louis Keeley? Yeah. Hank Azaria as Agador Spartacus, and Christine Baranski as Catherine Archer. This has a runtime of 117 minutes and was released on March 8th, 1996. So we got a little spoilers already, Kyle.
Yeah.
But general thoughts, what'd you think of it?
I liked it.
It's enjoyable.
It was pleasant. I didn't I had no really negative feelings out of it, other than some of the ones that I kind of expressed in our conversation with Daniel, which is just kind of about the extent to which they go for it, basically. Yeah. But overall, like very, very like lighthearted and nice tale. What did you think?
I thought it was good. I thought it was slow.
Oh, yeah?
I thought it took a long time to get to somewhere. It pretty easily told you where it was going.
Yeah.
And I would rather have seen more dinner scene and less of the setup for it.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, I didn't know what I expected, but I kind of thought it would be like a more serious, just from the name alone, I thought it'd be like a more serious drama. So when it opens up in like a drag club in Miami, I was like, whoa, I was wrong.
Yeah.
This is fun. I'm having a good time watching. I didn't expect to do that. But yeah, it's fun. It's good. Do you want to just hop right into the plot?
Let's just get into the plot, because we got a long episode ahead of us anyways.
Yeah.
We open in the Birdcage, which is a drag club run by Armand. Albert, Armand's partner, is upset and refusing to do his number. Albert wants a palimony agreement from Armand and eventually agrees to do the number so that Armand won't put someone else on. Albert suspects Armand is cheating on him and doesn't love him anymore. Armand denies the accusation, but when Albert goes on to perform, Armand sneaks away to meet a younger man in his house. Turns out the younger man is just his son, Val, and Val tells Armand that he's getting married to a girl named Barbara. Meanwhile, Barbara tells her parents the same thing, Senator Kevin Keeley and Luis. Barbara begins a string of lies saying that Val's mother is a housewife and his father is a cultural attaché to Greece. The next morning, Armand tells Albert that Val is getting married, who also reacts very difficultly. And then Senator Keeley gets a call that Senator Eli Jackson, the co-founder of his Coalition for Moral Order, has died in the bed of an underage black prostitute. This was we talk about this in the discussion, but
this is you harsh.
Yeah, because like the way that Gene Hackman does this on the phone, where he was like, underage, black. I was like, oh no.
It starts a little rough, and every time they make reference to this, it's not great.
No.
It's probably like the harshest moments of an otherwise pleasant movie.
Yeah, I mean, like the worst part about this is that she was underage. Like,
yeah, that's the line right there.
Yeah, so kind of yucky, but they make every part of it the worst part of it.
Yeah.
Press surround the Keeley house, forcing the senator to sneak in and out of his own house through a ladder. Luis suggests that the wedding between Val and Barbara would be a good thing to restore Senator Keeley's image, and decides that they should go to South Beach and meet the, quote, Colemans and have dinner with them. Val tells Armand that the Keeleys are coming to town and tells him that it would be better if they remove all suggestive art from their apartment and if Albert doesn't attend. Back at the Keeleys, one of the press bribes Keeley's driver to find out where they're going and discover that they are going to South Beach. Senator Keeley tries to sneak out of his house through his ladder, somehow not seeing the crowd of press surrounding his exit ladder.
Yeah.
That was a little bit beyond belief.
Yeah, it was just a weird gag.
Yeah. So the senator tells them that he's leaving town to plan an event that will heal some bad things. Okay.
Yeah, he was, for a politician, this guy sucks at thinking on the fly.
Armand organizes to have the apartment redecorated without telling Albert. Armand tries to tell Albert to take some days off and tries to stop him from returning to the apartment to see the redecoration. Armand fails to stop Albert, who, on returning home, thinks they've been robbed. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Val forces Armand to tell Albert that they think it would be better if Albert wasn't there for the dinner. Albert leaves, obviously and very understandably upset, and Armand feels bad and tells him that, you know what, he can't stay. Armand then tries to teach Albert how to act straight, which is strange because he's also a gay man.
Yeah.
But this is kind of some fun physical comedy in this area. I liked how they walked past this woman twice.
Yeah.
And both times she's just like, okay.
I love when Armand tells Albert to like walk like a man, like John Wayne.
Yeah.
And then Albert does a really good John Wayne walk. And then Armand's like, I mean, yeah, you did it right. I forgot he walks like that.
Yeah. Armand tells Val that Albert will stay and act as Val's uncle. Armand gets the idea to bring Val's biological mother, Catherine, into dinner to act as the housewife. Catherine agrees and flirts and dances with Armand before Albert bursts in, sees the encounter, and leaves in a huff, taking their car. Albert takes the bus home and manages to beat Albert home since he was driving with the parking brake on. Albert then announces that he's leaving for good to go to the grave, but Armand finds him and gives him the palimony agreement that he had wanted. The pair return home and try to tell Catherine not to come, but Val intercepts her return call and tells her that the message was wrong and that she should come. Albert and Armand get ready in suits, which just makes Albert more obviously gay, apparently. Albert then locks himself into his room, thinking that everyone hates him. The Keeleys arrive at South Beach, and they make awkward introductions with Armand. Luis gushes about their decor, and Armand aggressively tells everyone to sit before asking Agador for some champagne. I kind of skip all of the Agador stuff in this breakdown.
That's probably fine.
But yeah, he's just kind of like a fun comic relief character. And we mentioned the shoes bit in the conversation with Daniel, but like some fun slapstick physical comedy that the actor pulls off. I liked it.
Yeah, it's good. He was good in this.
Yeah, he was good in this. The press arrives at the Birdcage and start their investigation. Catherine is held up significantly by traffic and calls the house to tell everyone they can start without her. Suddenly, the mother does arrive, but it's Albert in drag, pretending to be Val's mother, to Armand's horror.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Senator Keeley picks up on this later. He was like, he looked terrified when she even opened her mouth. And
yeah. I love that he gets Mrs. Doubtfire. This is a complete turnaround for Robin Williams.
Yeah. Somehow the press manages to zoom and enhance on audio to figure out where the senator is and release that information to their network. This was such like I could not believe this.
Yeah, that was some wild tech wizardry going on. You can't do that.
Like I could suspend some disbelief with some zoom and enhance on some like actual images, but they get clear audio of this guy bribing their driver to find out where they're going.
They've somehow, stripped other sound out of it. Like, it's not how that works.
Absolutely not. No, but
I do love that like continued byline of the driver just giving tips on where the senator is for any amount of money constantly.
Yeah. And it pays off at the end too when the Senator Keeley's escaping. And he tries to tell the driver what to do one more time.
Yeah.
And he's just like, not in a million years, lady.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. Yeah, Albert tells the senator what he wants to hear, which results in the senator taking a liking in the mother. And the original press that followed the Keeleys finds out everything they need to know about Armand Goldman. Dinner is served, and Agador blows it by putting out penis bowls and serving a gross stew, and also not making an entree.
Look gross. I love they just throw some eggs in there.
Yeah.
Normally that can save any dish, is throwing a hard-boiled egg in there, but this one just really embraces the mess further.
And there's one bit that I really liked where they all take their first sip and immediately grab bread.
Yeah.
And it's like in unison too. They all just reach for the bread. The lies continue to crumble as Albert says his parents have died when Val had said that his mother was just visiting their grandparents, which is why she was late. More press arrives, and Val tries to leave a note for Catherine telling her to not come up when she does arrive, but the press steal the note. Albert's wig shifts and everyone leaves to adjust it. As they do, the Keeley parents chat about what they think is going on, resulting in a fight between the senator and his wife. Catherine eventually does arrive and heads right upstairs, claiming to be Val's mother and Armand's husband. Everyone else returns, and it all is revealed as Val explains the relationship that they have to the Keeleys. Kevin Keeley struggles to understand. I like the line too. He's like, "You can't be Jewish."
Yeah.
Like Luis is like, "This is a man." Like, what? How are you not seeing that? Like getting that part?
Yeah.
And he's just like, "What?" So Kevin Keeley struggles to understand, and Luis tells Barbara that they need to leave. As they go to leave, the press appears right outside trying to capture Kevin inside. With the Keeleys trapped inside the apartment, more press arrives outside. They need to leave, and so Albert comes up with the idea to dress the Keeleys in drag and sneak them out through the crowd. The idea works, and a completely dressed up Senator Keeley, Luis, and Barbara walk right out the front door and drive away with Catherine. We end on Val and Barbara getting married. That's it. The end.
What a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Well, we'll, I guess, transition to our guest feature with Daniel now. Welcome to another guest feature on Snubs and Dubs. Today, we're joined by friend of the pod, friend of me and you and us, Daniel Gagnon. That was probably pretty close. Daniel, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be joining you guys on the podcast. And I think you nailed my last name. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you. That's the shining achievement of one correctly pronounced name. And looking at the people involved with this movie outside of actors, I will not pronounce a single one right because there's a lot of French/European names here. So that's going to be a butcher show when we get to that one later. But Daniel, what did you think of The Birdcage?
I thought it was a superb movie. I think that if you haven't already seen The Birdcage, that it should definitely be added to your watch list, especially over the new year. I think it takes very like serious and touchy topics, but it wraps it in this really easy to understand and kind of light and funny and entertaining package. So I personally really entertained it, and I also saw a lot of parallels with it in my own life, really. How about you guys? What did you guys think?
Yeah, I loved it. Or maybe not love. I don't know about love. Love's pretty strong. I really enjoyed it, though. Like, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, I liked it, too. I enjoyed it. I thought there was places where it could have gone a little bit further into the concept. But given the time period, being 25 years old at this point, I don't think I can really expect that from it.
No.
And also it's based on material like from the 70s too. So like maybe even it was stretching from then too. But
yeah, because I think like the base core concept's the same as the like the French movie that it's based off of, but like kind of Americanized in a way too. Although I think it was also like a conservative like politician in the original one that is coming over for dinner. But it's a fun twist with like the fun, colorful drag shows of Miami. And yeah, it's impressive that it tells a story about gay characters in like a positive, sympathetic light. I think I was reading like some reviews of it from when it came out. And one theme was like, even though there's like a lot of stereotypical depictions of gay characters, which is not the most progressive thing, but also like whatever, it's 25 years ago, it's gonna be hard to be perfect. But because it actually depicts them in a positive light, when a lot of portrayals of gay characters had to revolve around like their experience with the AIDS epidemic. And this is finally like a light, fluffy look, a fun time you can hang around with your friends, and that's not like dark and depressing and talking about people dying in the streets.
Yeah. And like Robin Williams could have gone a lot bigger and leaned into that, gay stereotypes, but he didn't. And I think that really grounded the rest of the movie because he had his sort of, maybe flamboyant moments, but like he was pretty
like subtle.
Subtle. Like, yeah, he was he wasn't as outlandish as, God, what's the other guy's name?
Albert?
Oh.
Timon.
Timon.
Nathan Lane?
Yeah, Lane. What's his?
There's a husband, and then there's the comic relief for the one pretending to be the maid.
Nathan Lane.
Oh, Nathan Lane, yeah, who was Albert.
Yeah.
Oh, and Agador, yeah, he was the maid. Yeah, he was good too. But those were both very like flamboyant caricatures, whereas Robin Williams seemed to be a little bit more reserved, which was a nice contrast. Because then they're not all into this one sort of portrayal of the homosexual personality.
Yeah. What did you think of the characters, Daniel? Is there anyone that you like preferred over others?
Let's see. For me, it's a toss-up. It's got to be between Robin Williams' performance, kind of trying to strike that balance and help his son out, and then with Nathan Lane or Albert, the husband. I found his character to be super entertaining, and it reminds me of a drag queen that I used to work with when I did retail back in the day. And they're just some of my favorite people. They're awesome to be around. But I found it hilarious how towards the end, when when Albert decides to play the mother in drag and just absolutely nailing it. And Senator Keeley just starts falling for him and just really getting into a deep conversation with them without really realizing. And I think that was hilarious. And when the plates came out with the what did they say? I think they said it's
like the sexually
boys playing
explicit
leapfrog.
The boys playing leapfrog. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, both performances are really good. Robin Williams looks so good in this.
Yeah.
Both like he looks hot, obviously, but he looks such the part. Like as soon as you see him the first time, that thick duster on his face, you know exactly what he's all about immediately. Yeah. It's so well done.
I also like the contrast from when they go to that dinner scene and how uncomfortable he looks just in his suit.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to be more kind of rock solid in that, that whole scenario, but he actually seemed more like antsy and anxious in that whole scenario than Albert did when Albert came out in drag, which was funny to see because you for the longest time you'd think, okay, well, he seems a little bit more cool-headed. Armand's going to be able to play this off, and they don't want Albert there because he'll give everything away. But Armand was really not doing any favors to Val.
Oh no,
in keeping the secrets.
Out of the pocket the entire time, just fumbling at every step of the way.
I wonder, I wonder if what you guys' take is on this. But to me, when I saw Albert come out in drag and just really doing what made him comfortable, playing that character, that it seemed like Robin Williams' character was a little bit less anxious. When Albert came in and kind of saved the day, so to speak, for a little bit there. It felt like when the characters were trying to pretend to be something that they weren't, that's when it was a train wreck, so to speak. But when they were being themselves and trying to be authentic, that is when it had a feeling of, they were able to just bond like Albert. Nathan Lane's character Albert was able to bond with Senator Keeley, with the family of the fiance, and I don't know if you guys found that, and I think that might tie into one of the deeper themes in the movie as well.
Yeah, I think like they were really like awkward when they had like, especially Robin Williams pretending to play a straight man as like a gay man in this movie was just so stiff and so bad. And then like, he like once Albert comes out and starts like nailing the details that they're making up for this giant elaborate lie that doesn't make any sense. And you can kind of see him like feel a bit better because they have some breathing room now because at least one thing's going right in the meeting. And that kind of helps out the whole, the flow of the scenario.
Yeah.
And it just makes a fun transition at the end when they go back to like their actual like drag selves to get Keeley out of the club. Everyone looks like they're having more fun except for Keeley because now it's like a little role reversal. But
yeah, but then he was like, I don't want to be the only one not dancing.
Yeah.
I think too, like maybe the final 10 minutes in the film are really what drives the message home for the movie. And I was just kind of thinking about how it portrays this sort of like cultural dipole. On one hand, you have this gay couple, one's a drag queen, the other's running a drag bar. And then on the other hand, you have this extremely conservative family that's all about the traditional family unit, all about those, conservative values. And I think about where we are today and how if you look online, it seems like you can draw a line down the middle and say you've got a group of people over here and a group of people over there, and they're just not getting along, and it can get really toxic online when, people get into arguments about politics, like whether homosexuals should be able to serve in the military, for example, one of the topics that came up in the movie briefly. I think it just shows like taking the time to get to know one another and not necessarily coming to agreements on our, agreeing on everything, but just understanding that, we're all human and, we all go, we're more similar than we are different can break down a lot of barriers like it does there at the end.
Yeah, and one thing that they kind of mirror too is like the family of Armand, Albert, and Val, I think is the son's name.
Yeah.
Is like a tighter, better family unit than the conservative senator's family who like just kind of use each other for their own ends. And like the whole wedding is just a ploy for the senator to have better optics. And he doesn't really care about the wedding, and the daughter's upset at the parents and has to lie about who she's marrying. And then like with the men on the other hand, like that family unit, they all love each other. It's really sweet. And it's kind of, I think it actually portrays in a really positive light that gay couples are going to have just as happy a family home as any straight couple can have. Yeah. Or even, sometimes better when you're not a conservative senator.
Mm. I didn't really care for Val in this.
Val sucks. Yeah, Val's just a jerk.
Like, obviously, it's the catalyst of the entire movie. The fact that they are trying to hide their circumstances from this very conservative family. But like, I feel like Val would probably have gone to bat a little bit more for them.
Or like even a little bit. Yeah. Even the slightest sense.
Yeah. So then maybe it's like, maybe the daughter is the one who's like really putting this on, and like, because he was probably quite forward about what his family was like to her.
Oh yeah, because she knew.
Yeah, and so like, was she the one that was like, oh no, you have to hide this for, what, forever?
Yeah.
Like, is that what they're just gonna do? Because they were horrible hiding it for like one evening. And I don't know how they were going to be able to hide it forever.
I think they were assuming like if they can get through this one dinner and then they have the wedding and then they've never really need to see each other again, like all the parents, because they live far enough away. Something like that. I don't know.
That's weird. Yeah. But yeah. I thought he was the one person that was like almost the villain in a way.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that's like making all of this kind of happen in a way that's like not to their true nature.
Yeah. You think at the very least, if your future wife like so desperately wants to represent your family as something completely different than what they are, maybe don't marry her. Maybe she kind of sucks.
Yeah, he was the one character going and trying to ask his, parents to pretend to be something that they're not. Mm-hmm. Definitely a douche move.
Asked one of them to leave. That's a huge douche move.
Was this the first time you'd watched this movie, Daniel?
Yeah, so these are my first impressions on it.
Nice. And like, would you watch it again? Like, is this one that you're going to revisit, you think?
Yeah, I'd 100% watch this again. I think that beyond the very kind of like entertaining and funny and goofy story that it has, that it also has like a really deep message behind it. And it made me think of an article that I had read not too long ago about... what was his name? I think it was like Daryl Davis. He's a African-American that decided to go and sit with Klansmen, really the epitome of people who have, grown up and been raised kind of isolated from other cultures and other types of people and taken a really bigoted approach to life. And just by sitting down and talking with them, over 200 of them decided to give up the robe, so to speak. And one of them even said that was the first time he had actually sat down and talked with a black man. And I think that's sort of a parallel to what happens at the dinner. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm reading into it a bit much, but it doesn't seem like Senator Keeley would have taken the time of day to really sit down with a gay family and ask them about their experiences and to really get to know them on a more personal level. And so this wacky situation kind of helped facilitate that. And I don't know, maybe I'm just being optimistic at the end, but I hope that they were able to get a little bit closer or a little bit of a better understanding of one another, maybe humanizing one another a little bit more. So
yeah, that's one thing I wish we had seen a little bit more of in the end of this movie is just maybe some more change in Kevin Keeley, because he escapes the situation, with, I guess, his reputation unharmed because no one was able to actually catch him and photograph him at this place. But then he doesn't really come around as a character to being like, oh, I'm going to embrace this type of people into my heart. And maybe I'll advocate for them using my platform for politics. And it just kind of seems like he escapes the situation, was able to, was willing to dress up in drag just to get out and get what he wants. And, that's you have the optimistic look of, maybe he did change at the end of it, but we don't really see that. And so I wish we could see that.
I did see him vibing a little bit there in drag. Didn't want to be alone dancing, and to be fair, he was rocking the outfit too. So
yeah. I think there was like two parts of this movie from like the message standpoint that I didn't really get behind. And that was a big one that Senator Keeley never really has a fall from grace. Like the two men have to hide that they're gay. And when it's finally revealed, they still need to use their gayness to help out someone else in a tough situation. And they never get a moment of like pride or like being able to change Keeley's mindset that kind of makes what they had to go through earlier worthwhile, which is kind of a frustrating endpoint, but also it was made 25 years ago. So they're probably not going to be able to take it home in a way that sends as strongly a positive message, like both against conservative politicians and for the gay community. But it would have been great to see like some kind of turnaround or comeuppance where now Keeley changes his mind and Albert and Armand are happier and better off because they've gone through this experience.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of just seems like they had a really rough dinner meeting and then had to like go out of their way to help out this guy who's still going to enact policies that harm them.
Yeah. Because like at the end, sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
I was just going to say, it feels like a bit like an incomplete character arc.
Yeah.
Like they cut it off halfway.
Yeah. I wish there was more in between when they realize what's going on, when the whole, shtick is up and everything's revealed. And when they realize that they're trapped there because of the press, I wish there was more in that time where they were trapped for, conversation or debates or, self-realization or change. But it really goes from the reveal, they're trapped. Oh, we can dress you up and sneak you out of here. That's the end of the movie. And that was the one thing I was missing. The other thing that I was missing in here that I took notice in the second time that I watched it, because I had to watch it again to write through the plot, was Albert and Armand don't embrace beyond holding hands.
Yeah. Which is really sad, especially when they have that like really emotional moment at the bus stop.
Yeah.
But I think either the writers weren't able to get a gay kiss in through the production or they never wrote one in, which would be way more disappointing.
Yeah, because I think in like even 25 years ago, having a gay kiss in your movie might have made it rated R. But is this movie already rated R? Because there's boobs in this movie.
Oh, there are boobs.
So I don't know.
That's a great question. What is this rated right now?
Yeah, because coming off 2 weeks ago, we watched Bound, which features, two females, and they were able to get very intimate and show everything in that relationship. Whereas in this, maybe it's trying to be a more lighthearted, more accessible comedy drama sort of thing. But the fact that they really shied away from showing the romantic love between these two people, it almost took me out of their relationship a little bit, because you're only going off of their words and what they say to each other and how they respond to each other's reactions, of like with Albert reacting strongly to the fact that his son has just told him that he doesn't want him to be there when he is introducing his fiance to the family because of the way that he is. And Armand's reaction to go and console him and eventually tell him that you can't stay, we're just going to have to play it straight. Like, those are the sort of the reactions that are trying to influence us to say that these two are a romantic pair, but you don't really see that in a physical way, which was something that I was missing.
And this is already rated R without them kissing in the first place.
There you go.
So it's funny you mentioned that. It kind of reminds me of a somewhat hilarious statistic I remember hearing during the last US election. So I think it was Pornhub. They came out and released stats about the most popular categories by state. And the South, like the southern states, the most popular category was lesbian porn, somewhat ironically.
Yeah.
So, and I just wonder too, if like it's at the time of those movies, if it was more like culturally acceptable to have women kissing in media as opposed to having men.
Yeah.
Oh,
even still, like, I think we're just getting to that point where people are, in mainstream media, where people are willing to accept, a homosexual relationship. Like with the Eternals, there was that one kiss between the two men, and that's in a big budget Marvel movie. But that's like the first time that they've done that, and we're in 2021. So I could understand the hardships of getting there. And obviously, this is a retrospective look. And so we are putting our modern perspectives onto this 25-year-old movie. But that is just, that was just one of the elements that I felt was missing from here. And I feel like if they remade this movie, in today or even like 10 years from now, that would not be a problem.
No, I don't think it would be.
Who do you think would, do you guys have any actors in mind if they were to ever do a remake? Who'd make a good Armand and who'd make a good Albert?
I mean, I'd like to see Nathan Lane just keep being Albert. He was so good as Albert.
The Birdcage 2. But we can't do that. Robin Williams has passed.
Yep.
Now I'm sad again.
So we gotta recast that role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone who can do a good mustache. Maybe Henry Cavill, but then we would get a little too spicy.
That would be pretty spicy. But
I'm not even gonna lie. I'd watch that. Henry Cavill.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
What about you, Dan? You got an idea?
It's like I get 50% of the reason I'm watching The Witcher.
Yep.
But I was just thinking a little bit about what you were saying earlier, Jason, about at the beginning of the movie, because this was my I kind of watched it in two parts. I watched about halfway through the movie, then paused it, and then finished the other half. And the first bit kind of had me thinking to myself, and I don't know if this is biased just based on my own experiences, but it had me thinking, whenever I've been in a situation where I had to get together with someone who was ignorant or had very judgmental views in terms of things, were very judgmental in terms of anything that differed from their views, that it felt like we had to adjust whatever we would discuss or how we'd behave to basically appease them, right? To avoid starting anything. And it was just
our metaphorical penis statues.
And it just made me ask myself, it's does it do more harm than good when you have someone who is maybe a little bit, intolerant, to be trying to change yourself to that or to appease that? And I think that it's probably not something that's super good or super healthy, but it's just something that I was thinking about at the start of the film. So I was wondering what you guys' thoughts were on that.
I think with that, a lot of privilege kind of affects the people who feel the need to change to represent themselves, because no one's making a movie where a conservative senator feminizes his actions to fit in with a gay family or anything like that. That's not something that ever happens. You never see the more common or more accepted position make a change to accommodate a more marginalized group. And that's why in this kind of movie scenario, it's always the marginalized group that's going to be making the change in appearance, which is, a frustrating thing that they feel the need. And sometimes to actually have, these social interactions, this is what they have to do to hide part of their identity or change it to be more, in quotations, acceptable to another group that's, in conversation with them. That's really frustrating, but it's something that a lot of groups that are trying to get a bigger seat at the table keep having to do, and appeasing these different guidelines for slow incremental process or progress. And it's just frustrating to see that people need to change who they are or how they present themselves just to get kind of marginal steps forward in equality.
Yeah. It definitely seems like those efforts are definitely one way.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was funny. I was actually talking to my parents about the movie, and my dad is extremely homophobic and just very, stereotypical right-wing. Yeah. It just fits a lot of stereotypes. And so I was kind of describing the characters. And as soon as I mentioned that it compares kind of a quote unquote traditional family unit to a less traditional LGBTQ plus family, as soon as I mentioned that, it was can't talk about it. Don't even want to hear about it. I was like, that's...
Which is especially frustrating since this movie's already 25 years old. So this isn't necessarily anything groundbreaking for the social climate today.
Yeah. And that's the thing is this movie, this is why I feel like it could have gone a little bit further within those sort of themes and embrace the the physical relationship as well as the emotional relationship and showing this strong family unit, because this movie is not for those type of people. It's not for the Kevin Keeleys.
No.
These people aren't going to watch this movie and think, oh, well, I shouldn't be like that. Yeah. They're just not going to watch this movie. This is for the people that want to feel good about, supporting those type of families, or maybe slightly on the fence about it. I don't really know. So I don't know why they held back.
Another thing you can do is like having a movie this big be that popular is just normalizes like the relationship that's in the movie. And it just gets people familiar with the characters, and you're more likely to be empathetic to characters if you've seen like that kind of lived experience. So just kind of having a movie made about people and perspectives you don't normally see just kind of helps with normalizing that in the bigger like social climate.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of wanted to touch on in this, and that I wasn't expecting, was this movie had some pretty racist parts to it.
Yeah.
Anytime they're discussing the underage sex worker that was caught with the now dead senator, they get pretty brutal. And I wasn't expecting that in a movie that's like attempting to be socially progressive for the time. They really just shit on her.
Yeah.
Well, they emphasize like a nice white wedding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at one point they go like real racist. I can't remember what the exact line is.
Oh, was this with Kevin Keeley talking about their maid?
I think. No, this is still about that sex worker. Oh, okay. So this is a quote from the movie from Keeley when he said, "Now the blacks will start." When he's talking about them being upset because of like the whole scandal that's going on. I didn't expect that level of racism to be in this movie.
Yeah. I think Kevin also says something about Agador, about being like some tanned skin, something or other. About his his being Guatemalan. And that's just yucky. It's just not nice.
No, it's gross. What did you think of that? Was that anything that you expected to see in there, Daniel?
When I saw that, it felt to me like they were portraying what is, I would argue, pretty common in a lot of the far right-wing kind of conservative people in the US. Just look at the past few years with movements like Black Lives Matter trying to get hijacked. And even the sentiment among a lot of white Americans to feel as though they are under attack and that they are becoming a minority. And I find that sentiment hilarious in a sense, because when you ask those people, does racism exist in the US? No, it doesn't. They're going to say, no, it's being overplayed. It's being exaggerated. There's no difference between us and the minorities. And in the same breath, feel like they are becoming a minority and are scared of that. And it's like, well, if it's equal and if there's no issues, why are you scared of becoming a minority? It's almost as if you think that they have it worse off. So it's just a little bit of, I think, cognitive dissonance there.
Yeah, and I think it's like a frustrating thing that sometimes happens with movies that are about one particularly like marginalized group is that it can, whether intentional or not, kind of punch down on other groups as well, instead of being like a positively intersectional movie that tries to be progressive for like all representation instead of just the main focus of the film. But
yeah,
I think like it's easy to judge it now, but this movie really was quite progressive for its time and also well received at the time too. People didn't have any really large issue with it, just like some small problems with like the kind of stereotypical nature that's being depicted. But sorry, Daniel, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say too, like, I think it was mentioned earlier that this movie is targeted a little bit more towards people that are wanting to feel good about supporting that sort of cause. And I think that having those kind of racist undertones at the beginning emphasize that point a little bit. And what I mean by that is when you portray the Keeleys using a lot of the beliefs or positions that are, more stereotypical and maybe not prevalent amongst every person on the right wing, that it can alienate a bunch of people and make it harder to have a conversation when, you try to paint one side as maybe not the bad guy, but what's the word I'm looking for here?
Like just an antagonist of any kind. Yeah,
when you paint it as an antagonist, then it's like, I don't know if that really does much for trying to facilitate conversations between each side.
Mm-hmm. I guess it kind of, unless, is there anything that you wanted to?
No, I was just wondering if you have any other final thoughts on the movie, Daniel, before we wrap up.
Not particularly. I think, again, I think this is a really great movie. I think it has a lot of deep themes to it. And it's also just funny and entertaining. So I gotta love, though, how, was it Agabor was unable to walk in the shoes, and they just they ran. They ran with it.
That's such a funny detail that they went with.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give this a ranking out of 10, and this can be on any metric you want, however you want to like rank this movie in the Daniel system, what would you give this personally?
All right, and for the Daniel ranking metrics,
Daniels.
Out of 10 Daniels, I would give it. I think it's aged really well. Yes, it generalizes the kind of LGBTQ, and it's a bit binary in terms of their roles, and it uses some stereotypes, but I think overall it's still a great representation and it's super entertaining. So I give it an 8.5.
Yeah. That's pretty
strong.
And it's just a funny movie.
Yeah.
It's fun and lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for popping on, Daniel. We'll be happy to have you back sometime in the future for some more episodes as well. But yeah, we appreciate your time and your opinions on The Birdcage.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a blast. And it was great to be on the show.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel.
Well, thanks again, Daniel, for hopping on and talking Birdcage with us. Kyle, do you want to get into some reviews?
I would love to hear some reviews.
Let's hop into them. All right. What do you think the critics and what do you think the audiences had to say about The Birdcage?
I heard a little birdie, pun intended, told me that this is well received.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to say maybe high 80s critics and maybe like 85 audiences. That's probably it.
I'd say you're close.
Okay.
Audiences and critics are in agreement kind of across the board with this one. At least like in agreement with each other. For Rotten Tomatoes, critics, 81. Damn. Audiences, wouldn't you know it, 81.
Wow.
Yeah. Perfect harmony.
Even across the board.
IMDb, 71.
Mm-hmm.
Metacritic, 72.
Cool.
Yeah. Everyone
Totally
very
fair.
Positive.
Yeah.
Very enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Also positive in cash, baby.
Oh, baby.
This movie made $182 million Renos on a budget of 31.
Oh, damn.
150 turnaround.
Yeah.
This was number 13 at the box office in 96.
Wow. That's quite high. Yeah.
I didn't expect it to do that well because it's an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
And it's about a gay couple.
Yeah.
And people threw money at it. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there is some clout behind it. Obviously, Robin Williams.
Pretty big name. You might have heard of him. Yeah.
Mike Nichols directed The Graduate. And so, I think people might have shown up for him too. He's
Nathan
got some
Lane
clout.
is also huge. He has Tonys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also got Timonies.
That was good. That was really good.
Which I discovered this quite early and I texted you about it. But once I figured out that Nathan Lane had voiced Timon, it was all I could fucking imagine.
Thank God I did not notice that when I was watching and it never came across my mind. And I am probably better off for it. Oh, that's funny.
I want to see like a Space Jam style movie where it's just Robin Williams in live action, but with Timon. And just keep all the same lines, but just edit out Nathan Lane and put Timon in instead.
It's just, it's the first human and Timon relationship to ever be depicted on the screen. That's a kiss I'm not ready for.
Yeah. And it's an entirely different thing when Timon walks through the front door to pretending to be a human woman.
Yeah. Oh, we got something there. We got something there. We're selling that to a studio. The Birdcage too.
Meerkat edition.
Well, we want to do our rankings?
Sure.
This Lion King themed movie. Kyle, hit me with your enjoyment score.
I'm going to go 3.5.
3.5. I'm, in all honesty, gonna give this one a 2.5.
Wow.
There are funny moments, but it's really slow.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was really getting geared up for some fun dinner party hijinks.
Yeah.
And it's like the last 20 minutes is the actual dinner party.
Mm-hmm.
And they spend 100 minutes setting that up.
Yeah. And as I said in our conversation, I wish that there had been more in that dinner scene, even after the reveal.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was so much missed opportunity for great conversation in that zone where there's still conflict, but
Yeah, but like, these goofy hijinks are saving the day. They're just barely keeping it together as Senator Keeley slowly unravels it, but he unraveled it wrong. And like they had a lot of room to really make this be a big scene with a lot of payoff. And I think they kind of missed the mark on that.
Me too. Yeah. But overall, I still enjoyed.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. But I'm 2.5. And I could have had more fun if they really, really went for some things.
I think a half a star is just Robin Williams' entire aesthetic during this movie.
Oh, so good. He looks and is the part.
Yeah. That mustache.
God, that's
that could be its own credited actor in this movie.
Robin Williams' mustache playing itself. What's your Kraft single slice score for the film Kraft?
I think I'm going to go a 3. I think it's nice looking. The costumes are really good. I think the whole drag element obviously elevates these costuming because they have such amazing, elaborate costumes. And then you have the Albert as the mother costume that had to be put together too, which was fun. So yeah, and like even when they're put in suits, I don't know if it was just the actors or if it was the suits themselves, maybe washing them out a little bit, but they looked so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah,
and I think that all just worked. Yeah. What about you?
I think I'm gonna give it a 4 for Kraft. I think that was most of my enjoyment from the movie. Kind of came from like the screens that they built. Like the costumes were all really cool.
Yeah.
They built a lot of really fun scenes. Like they went for it with all the locations. Like the club looks like a drag club. It looks really cool, bustling place. Their penthouse is bananas.
Yeah.
Like when they first look through it before they change it to look like all conservative and boring. It looks really cool. And they got a bunch of decorations, fun penis statues everywhere that they have to hide. And when they change it to become like a straight, like bare bones, not going to reveal anything, it looks really funny and out of place. And they have like Nancy Drew books. It's like this is what they chose because like they don't know what to put for books.
Yeah.
I think they did really well on that. It just really artfully put together and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe I'll do 3.5 actually. You've kind of sold me because I forgot about the set design in that apartment. It's quite
enjoyable.
Good,
yeah.
Cool.
Execution.
Yeah, I think some of the gripes I had are holding this one back from being a lot, but the acting is really good.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, obviously it's based on something and I think they adapted it enough to the 90s sort of era. I wish there was some more in certain areas. So I think I'm just going to go 3 here because it wasn't unenjoyable. It was just, I think there's more potential here than what was on display.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, you're doing 3. I should write that down first.
Yeah.
I also feel like maybe Robin Williams and Nathan Lane were held back a bit.
Definitely.
Because they're definitely like both really good improvisational actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like maybe Robin Williams especially didn't really go out of his shell that much and played a pretty contained role.
Yeah, because he was kind of that straight man to, pun intended, straight man to Nathan Lane. In that Nathan Lane was very out there. Even Agador was very out there. And so you kind of have that contrasting, personality. And, we know Robin Williams can go big.
Oh, yeah.
And he does it very briefly in a scene that they show in all the trailers where he's talking to that guy about how he's supposed to be dancing. And like, so you can see that. And like, it's clear that he has that range. But he's very reserved here. And that's clearly a choice. But maybe it didn't help.
I mean, it's a tough line to walk as like a straight actor playing a gay character.
Yeah.
Very easily, if you try and like make a caricature, it becomes like harmful to the base material.
Yeah.
And it can be seen as kind of like punch down humor or that he's satirizing who gay people are in a really unenjoyable way. So it's definitely like a tough role to be in. I'm also gonna give this a 3. I thought like the acting is good, but maybe like there could have been more there. Something was held back still.
And like I believed them both as gay and I don't know if Nathan Lane is
I believe he is. I'm quite sure he is. I think he was the only like actually gay actor in this movie.
Really? Not even Agador?
Oh, maybe. Or at least for leading roles.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Nathan Lane told his mother he was gay at the age of 21. And apparently Oprah tried to out him.
Really?
In the late 90s. Yeah.
Oprah.
So good one, Oprah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believed them both. Yeah, there was maybe a little bit more they could have been working with.
What's your rewatchability on this?
Yeah, it's definitely something I would rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's something that I'm actively going to be like wanting to rewatch for a while.
Yeah,
but it is something that will be on my radar, and obviously I own it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I might just give this another 3.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm gonna go 2.5. To me, this is like an average rewatchability of a movie.
Yeah,
I'm not really gonna play this on my own, but I could see maybe there's some people I want to watch this with, or other people who were watching it. Maybe I'd want to see it, but like, I'm not chomping at the bit to watch this movie again. Even though it was enjoyable, it was lighthearted.
Yeah.
Well, that brings our scores to Kyle. You have given this a 13 out of 20 for a 65, and I have given this a 12 out of 20 for a 60.
That seems fair.
I think that's fair. That's kind of how I feel. Like, it's not really that incredible of a movie in my opinion.
Yeah.
But this probably was this made bigger waves when it was first released for sure.
For sure.
Now let's put this into season rankings. Don't want to give you the full thing. Where you feeling?
Yeah, give me the full thing. Maybe, I don't think it's going to go into the bottom 6.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can give me up to like 15.
Okay, top 15. All right. If you need more, you let me know.
Yeah.
All right. So top to bottom: Fargo, Bound, Scream, Swingers, Jerry Maguire, Independence Day, Mission Impossible, Secrets and Lies, Bottle Rocket, Trainspotting, The Rock, Twister, Primal Fear, The People vs. Larry Flint, and Shine is your number 15.
I think it's just better than Twister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will make The Birdcage be your new number 12, and I'll put it just below The Rock. So mine is, I'll do the top, all of them, and because I don't know where I want to put this in yet, and I've got to hear them all to figure that out. So top to bottom is Bound, Fargo, Scream, Swingers, Lone Star, Independence Day, Secrets and Lies, Jerry Maguire, Mission Impossible, The Rock, Breaking the Waves, Bottle Rocket, Trainspotting, Primal Fear, Twister, A Time to Kill, Shine, Happy Gilmore, The People vs. Larry Flint, Marvin's Room, Sling Blade. I think I'm going to put it in a pretty similar spot to you. I'm going to put it just above Primal Fear, which will make this be my new number 14, just below Trainspotting.
Yeah, that's fair to me.
Yeah, because I did have some laugh moments.
Yeah.
There were some laughs. There were some lulls. Maybe an LMAO, but it was good. Yeah, I don't hate this movie. Not gonna be something that I walk away with like, oh, of my 1996 must hits. The Birdcage probably not making it on there.
I think if this had taken bigger swings, it would have been as acclaimed as its original.
Yeah.
Because I have not seen the original. I kind of want to now, the original French film, just because of how acclaimed it was.
Yeah.
Like even outside of like foreign awards, like at the Academy Awards, it was like nominated for like Best Director of that year. So only 5 people were nominated, and it was in the 70s. So like obviously they wanted to remake it in hopes that maybe it would get similar acclaim.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if they went big enough.
I don't think they did. They weren't very daring.
Yeah.
And they didn't even like really depict the senator as a bad guy.
Yeah.
There is like, you know that he's a bad person, but he never gets like a big mic drop moment. He really doesn't suffer many repercussions for what has happened.
No.
Yeah.
I would say he doesn't even suffer any repercussions.
Yeah, he gets like annoyed by the press at his house, and like that's kind of it.
And he slips out the back in the end. And it's just like, hands clean, we're done.
Yeah. I don't know how much that's like the production team or like the studio's not allowing them to go bigger and kind of containing how far they can go and what is them actually writing it. But yeah. It's potential. It's probably unrealized potential at the end of the day.
I reiterate that this is probably one that should be remade in a few years. It's 25 years, maybe another 10 years.
I could see anytime. Anytime in the next while. I think a remake would be welcome, probably done pretty well.
I would also like to see it set in like the 90s or maybe even 80s though. Like, so have it kind of be a period piece at that point.
Yeah.
Which, it's weird saying that the 80s is a period piece, but
that's 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
It's
and so,
a while ago.
But yeah, so I think that would be interesting.
Me too. I'd agree with that.
Cool.
Do you want to hit some award details?
I want to hit some award details.
Award details? All right. This was nominated for 1 Academy Award. What do you think that one might be?
Adapted screenplay?
Best art direction.
Oh.
I think I'm cool with that.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Didn't win.
Oh.
But it got nominated.
Cool.
Other notable awards. This cleaned up at the American Comedy Awards. Well, I mean, for nominations at least.
Yeah.
It was nominated for Funniest Lead Actor for Nathan Lane, Funniest Supporting Character for Hank Azaria, Funniest Supporting Actress for Diane Wiest, and Funniest Supporting Actress for Christine Baranski. Yeah, got nominated for 2 different supporting actresses in a motion picture at the Comedy Awards.
I mean, that surprises me.
Yeah.
Because none of the, no offense to the female actresses in this movie, they didn't have anything to do.
They were really small parts. Yeah. So this might get, Diane Wiest won.
What?
She didn't have that big of a part, and she wasn't really a comic character in this.
No, she has one kind of dramatic cry.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Yeah. She just kind of moves the plot along.
That's confusing me.
And also Nathan Lane won the Funniest Lead Actor in a Motion Picture for the American Comedy Awards. So that's good.
Yeah.
Some Letterboxd reviews time?
Oh, give me those Letterboxd
reviews. Some Letterboxd reviews. All right, this is from featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. 4 stars. That was their name. God, I wish I had Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, and Christine Baranski as parents, but instead I have clinical depression.
Oh no. Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. I think
We're
Devil is crying.
Man. We hope you're doing okay now, and that this movie gave you a little bit of joy.
Yeah. Scooter Doo, aka Mo.
These names are on point.
I know, these are really good. 4.5 stars. I'm mad at Mike Nichols for making me think with my own brain. Wow, Florida looks kind of fun. Go get him, Scooter. Mo Sislak, 2 stars. Worst kid ever. Just absolutely garbage son.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sucks. Val sucks the whole time.
I know.
He's always annoying. And I will say there is no chemistry between him and Barbara. They talk maybe 2 times and just stiff as boards. They are not in love.
I would say there's even no chemistry between him and his dad.
Yeah.
And his other dad, Albert. What?
He's kind of He's kind of bad in this.
Yeah, he's kind of like a blank, wooden plank board, pretty face type of person in this.
Surrounded by a lot of colorful characters.
Yes.
And he's just kind of stiff.
Yeah, there was one moment that I wasn't sure what they were going for, but he's talking about how he proposed to her. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, it was funny. And he laughs for a second, then he kind of clears his throat and stops. And I was like,
what is this character?
I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it doesn't translate very well from French.
Maybe.
One more. David Zalazin, 2 stars. This has all the character and substance of bird shit. Go get him, dude. Kill them.
That's good.
All right. Interesting facts.
Oh, yeah.
Hank Azaria realized after filming that he'd actually based his voice on his grandmother's.
Oh.
Mike Nichols required that Nathan Lane and Robin Williams filmed at least 1 good take of each scene, sticking to the script before he'd let them do some improvisation.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think it's probably a good way to do that.
Yeah.
And then see if they can come up with something better.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of improvisation, Robin Williams' slip and fall during the shrimp scene was not planned. Robin Williams really fell, and Hank Azaria, and Dan Futterman are holding back laughter.
That was quite a quick fall. He absolutely sold that, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he didn't mean to. He just ate shit. Director Paul Thomas Anderson, speaking of big old PTA, has said that this movie is one of 2 films that without fail or question will make me stop dead in my tracks and watch all the way to the very end, no matter what else is happening or needs to get done. The other film, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Oh, interesting. That's a good film too.
That's his big 2. And last one, director Mike Nichols had to be covered by a sound blanket during the toast scene because he was laughing too loudly. It was a pretty funny scene.
It was pretty funny. Yeah. I'm sure it was funnier when you were there.
Yeah, I imagine if you were there, oh, dynamite. Yeah. You have an ambulance on hand for that scene. That stuff is killer. But that kind of brings us to the end of Birdcage.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts? Anything else any birdcage you'd like to spread around?
I think I've kind of covered everything. All of my likes and dislikes, all my hopes and dreams for this movie that were squandered and squashed.
Yeah.
But what about you?
Val sucks.
Yeah, Val sucks.
As character, as person. I hate Val.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, Val, yeah, screw you, Val. That's all I got for Birdcage. Yeah. Otherwise, I feel pretty complete.
Great. Well, I forgot I was supposed to wrap up. Well, I want to thank you guys for listening to season 1, episode 22 of Snubs and Dubs. As always, you can find us everywhere on social media at Snubs and Dubs. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Letterboxd, etc. We're also on Good Pods, so make sure to check us out there and join our official Discord. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on the Birdcage or on this episode, so please send us a tweet or a message with a question, recommendation, or anything else. I'm also at Kyle Tobiason on Twitter, and Jason is at Windy_Mills. Of course, all of those links are going to be in our show notes. Make sure to leave a 5-star review and share the show, then check back next week for another episode. Here's a sneak peek of the film we're going to talk about.
From Walt Disney Pictures.
Up on James!
Comes the wildest.
Holy shipwreck!
Weirdest.
You enormous bugs!
Fascinating, isn't it? Most exciting motion picture adventure of the year.
He's gonna cut me in half! Let's get out of here!
James and the Giant Peach.
That's right. Next episode, we're talking about James and the Giant Peach. So make sure to watch it before next episode. Can't wait for you guys to hear it. Thanks for listening. That's a wrap. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.